Hey everyone, here we are for Worthiness Matters, day number 26 of our 30-day joy-based spirituality workout. And today I want to talk about the turbulence of personal development. So, a few years ago, I was coaching someone, and I knew that part of what would happen was that her husband would be like, "What is going on in my house right now?" So it would be kind of like if you were a mom who just always fed your kids junk food, and then one day you were like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta feed my kids salad." Do you think that the day you came home with salad, they would be like, "Oh, yum"? Probably not. I mean, maybe, but probably not. Um, just think about your own metaphor, what would work for you there. So that happens a lot of times in the realm of personal development, especially in relationships. And that's why it's really important that when you're embodying the ideas that we talk about here at Joy Based Living, and I'll walk you through our basics again today, because you can't do it too much. You can't do the basics too much. And I'll give you the reason I gave you that metaphor. I'll actually walk you through the practice. So we talk about honor, commitment, and loyalty. Now, I want you to consider something. The ideas of honor, commitment, and loyalty, anybody that you talk to would be like, oh, yeah, of course I want that in my life. Of course I want that in my life. That's in the head. I want you to actually feel the sensations. That's the practice of joy-based living, is actually feeling the sensations of what does honor feel like, and think of moments when you showed up with honor or when you watched someone show up with honor. Think about that. Feel that in your body. So, you know, when I was a little girl, I grew up in various synagogues, and we were taught that if you drop a prayer book, that you pick it up and kiss it. And so for me, when I practice that, you kiss the side of the book. When I practice that, you see, for each person, it's going to feel different. Whoever's practicing that, for some people, it might feel like loyalty. To me, it felt like honor, and honor in that situation feels like reverence. It feels like something in my belly feels more like I sit up taller. Something feels stronger deep in my belly when I practice honor. Um, when I think about commitment, um, I'll try to give you one so that, because it's these feelings, these sensations, they're positively contagious. And when we hear people's stories, that's why sometimes we watch movies of I'm watching the movie or the series right now called Julia, and her, well, you could call it loyalty to her soul, but I'm thinking about her right now in terms of her commitment. She was very, very, very committed to her. See, I'm going like this when I think of like commitment. She's very committed to her possibility of having this TV show against all odds. And I feel commitment in this case. I feel it in my heart, and my heart feels bigger and stronger. Think of a memory of commitment and where you feel commitment in your body. And then we'll go to loyalty. Loyalty, loyalty. Think of a moment when you were loyal or when someone else was loyal. So maybe somebody told you a secret and you didn't say anything. So you never told that person's secret. And that friend maybe looked at you later on and thanked you, or maybe they didn't, but you knew that you had practiced loyalty. And when so loyalty in me, so that happens in my world at times because I work with a lot of different people, and there's things that I would never reveal about them. um so loyalty, what does loyalty feel like? Loyalty feels like groundedness in my whole body, like, um, there's some gravitas, there's some importance. I'm keeping a promise. Do you ever see a kid, like, keep a promise? Like, Like when a kid keeps a promise, there's like real meaning and importance behind it. It kind of feels like that. I feel more centered in my whole being. Now, as most of you know who are here, you know that these are the healing fields for the wounds of shame. Honor is the healing field for shame. Um, Abandonment and commitment is the healing field for abandonment, and loyalty. Loyalty is the healing field for betrayal. We all know that we don't want shame, abandonment, or betrayal in our lives. I mean, we know this, right? But what it means to live on the other side of that, I mean, we also want to make sure we don't, shame, abandon, or betray our own selves. But when we start really living on the other side of that, really living into honor, commitment, and loyalty, what I want you to understand, because now you've had a felt experience, we live within a culture that doesn't encourage us, that doesn't promote the ideals, the ideas of honor, commitment, and loyalty. We are much more used to seeing news and information that makes us feel feelings of um, shame, abandonment, and betrayal. So here's what I want you to get, is that if you are living in a soup and the soup it has uh, that kind of poison in it, shame, abandonment, and betrayal on a regular basis, and don't expect yourself to not be affected by that. And when you change or when you leave that soup, um, what happens is, I start out by telling you about someone I was working with a few years ago, who, by the way, her husband thanked me numerous times within just thank you so much, for being such a good person for my wife, because she's different and she's better and she's happier. Like he really, really, really cared about her. But at first it was a little scary for him, because the changes that she made as a result of working with me rocked his world. And I knew that they would. And I knew that, well, I didn't know, I learned that he probably wasn't like a candidate for necessarily working with me, or having like the ideas that I was teaching about, honor, commitment, and loyalty. He lives those. But having him as like a co-student with her wasn't really going to be the ideal in that situation. He's very much his own person, and that's good. Every person has to find their own way. But what I want you to realize is that, number one, you want to have other people in your life who are practicing honor, commitment, and loyalty on an embodied level. And number two, well, so that they can reinforce it for you and you can reinforce it for them and you can normalize it within your subculture. But number two is that when you bring it to the other people in your lives, what you want to do is you want to build bridges. You want to do it in small ways. One of the people I work with, she made a copy of the 12 practices ebook, and it has like journal pages in it. And instead of writing in it herself, which she was going to do originally, I had encouraged her to share the ideas with her husband, because they're both dealing with PTSD. And she said, what I decided to do is just share the answers with herself and then with me, like online. She would just type it. I'm doing like this for texting. I don't text with my thumbs, by the way. Anyway, she would type it and send it to me, but she put the printout of the book in their house in a place that he could see it, and she encouraged him and invited him to open it up if he wanted to. And this way he wouldn't have her answers there, which might interfere with his own answers, with his own process. And then she could share her answers with him as she saw fit. You don't have to share everything in your life with everyone in your life. And so there's some things that you want to keep private, and that's totally okay. But if you're trying to bring these ideas into your home, um, surround yourself with as many people as you can who are practicing these ideas. It will help you a lot. But if you're trying to bring it to people who are new to the ideas, because they're also living in a culture that is not habitually like getting straight A's in the topics of honor, commitment, and loyalty. People feel very protective and defensive, and that's okay. That's just part of the deal. So when you first bring it into their lives, just be gentle and reinforce them and thank them for supporting you, and support. So I'll go back to that one, and then I'll come to a close. Um, the person I was working with a few years ago, um, she had one assignment where it took her a few months to actually complete the assignment, even though she could have completed it within just a few minutes had she been comfortable with it. But she was so uncomfortable with it, and it was a thrive list. What do I need in order to thrive was the question that she was assigned to answer. And f- finally, after a few months of gentle nudging, come on, where's the list? And then making ourselves aware of the resistances, taking ownership of those resistances, and going, oh, okay, they're still here. Let's what's going on there, and then releasing the objections, and then coming back to the thrive list. And then the assignment was to after she wrote it, and it was a whole page. It was like a whole page, like from top to bottom of a list, and it was really a sweet list. It was beautiful. What do I need in order to thrive? I mean, like I need some time just for myself, or I need, to just I don't even remember what's on the list right now, but they were so doable. They were just so doable. And I was like, okay, well, now you gotta I want you to share that list. I want you to put on your fridge. I want you to share it with your husband. I want you to share it with your best friend who's, out of state, but just so that someone else is in your world cheering you on besides me. And oh, she was so scared. And she's like, oh, honey, can I talk to you? And he's like, what is it? He was like scared. People don't usually like the words, can we talk? Um, and then she said, well, my assignment is to read you this list. And she read the list to him, and he was like, is that all? Okay. And then the purpose for sharing that with you is that she got to feel the experience of really feeling supported, really feeling heard, really feeling seen, and then seeing that it's really not that big of a deal, but being kind to herself and compassionate with herself during those moments when she felt like it was a really big deal. And so the idea here is building bridges, and I'll end with a quote by one of my favorite um, Middle Eastern poets. His name is Hafez, and he said, "There's a bridge between you and anything. It is love. There's a bridge between you and anything. It is love." So build bridges of love, my friends. Build bridges of love. Bye for now.